Cool, cool, cool. And we are up and running. Welcome, everyone. Hello, NC Media. How are you? Hopefully I said that right. Hey, Cheryl B. Lamont's in the house. Welcome, welcome. Hello. And hello, Mark and Danielle and Lewis and Sarah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Monday of live streaming here on the Creative Cloud channels and, of course, my personal channel as well. Photo Racer, welcome. So with that said, I've discovered something that makes my life easier, and I kind of showed a little bit of it in, hey Mo, what's going on? I showed a little bit of it in the keynote at Photoshop World, but like only for a split second. But today we're going to really tackle the, hey, I'm designing something new and I want to, work with color. Where do I begin? And that's always been a struggle of mine. I just, until recently, I just like, oh God, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. Colors have always been just, where do I begin kind of thing. Well, there are some rules to color that will make your life easier, but better yet, there are some tools that will make your life much easier. And we're going to talk about those tools today. And you have access to them in pretty much all of your design apps. So I'm going to show you, we're going to start in Photoshop. We're going to talk about Illustrator and InDesign as well. And you'll see how, and as a matter of fact, Illustrator and InDesign even have their own ways of doing things that add a little bit more to what I'm going to show. So it's a win-win, win-win. So let's get going here. Oh, did I say Photoshop Where I'm in Adobe Max? Let's go ahead and switch over to my computer so you guys can see what I'm doing. Color is every time I struggle. Well, hopefully we're going to make your life easier too. All right, so as you can see, I brought up a template here, a brochure, poster, or actually a poster, flyers, cards, and they're all in black and white because I took out all the color to make life, to give us a starting point. And we're going to talk about various ways of getting colors, but not only getting a color, more importantly, getting a color theme. So if you walk away with nothing else today, we're going to talk about how to get color themes for your next design project. Now, I know I probably put in an announcement color scheme because that's what we're used to calling them back in the old days, but color themes is what it's all about. All right, so let's start with this these posters here in InDesign. Or I'm sorry, in Photoshop. I've got these posters here. They're on different artboards, and where would I begin? I want to make each one of these graphic elements a different color. I don't know what colors to start with. I don't know what colors work well. I don't know what colors will be best. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do it. First of all, if you've got a color in mind, like you maybe it's a client color for their logo, maybe it's your favorite color, maybe it's a spring color. If you got one color in mind, then the applications can help you get the rest of the color theme that would go well with that one color you have in mind. If you don't have any color in mind, then I'm going to even show you how to start with nothing in mind. All right, so it all boils down to something called Adobe Color. Adobe Color has been around for years. As a matter of fact, before it was called Adobe Color, it was called Adobe Cooler, K-U-L-E-R. But now it's called Adobe Color, and it's a website. So here, let me bring up my browser. If you go to color.adobe.com, that is the Adobe Color website. And that's where you can begin to work with color. But that's not where we're going to start. You can go to the website and do it. But we're going to go back to the application because it's easier to do it in application since that's where you are. Believe it or not, Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign have Adobe Color built in. It used to be something you had to download. It used to be something that was only for Photoshop as an extension. As a matter of fact, it's still a Photoshop extension, but it's built in now. And now you have it in all three applications. So if you go in Photoshop, if you go under your window menu and you come down to color, you'll just bring up the regular color panel. But if you go to extensions, there's something called Adobe Color Themes. And again, this used to be something you had to download. And I thought for a minute before I do this session, I better check to make sure how to, to tell people how to download this. Luckily, I don't have to tell you because now if you have the latest version of Photoshop CC, it should already be there. So just go to Extensions, Adobe Color Themes, and that will bring up this beautiful panel. Now you're going to usually start off on this tab, the Create tab, and that's where you would begin. Now let's say, you got the color wheel here and you don't know what you want. You don't know what color you want. So if you'll look here, if I zoom in on this, you'll notice that there's 3 tabs. There's Create, Explore, and My Themes. Well, My Themes are the ones you created. So we're gonna pretend you don't have any. Let's go to Explore. Explore is the tab for color themes that other designers have created and shared. So for example, Valentine's Day is coming up this week. So if you were trying to make something for Valentine's Day, you can say, hey, I want to see what's cool for Valentine's Day. And you will find themes that others have created for Valentine's Day. And believe it or not, my favorite is this copy of Valentine's Day because it doesn't just, no, that's not the reason. I just like the colors in this theme. So if I like the colors in this theme, I have a couple of ways to get those 5 colors. I can say, add them to my favorites, meaning just keep them in Adobe Color. Add them to my swatches in the application I'm in right now. So add them to Photoshop or view online. So I don't want to view it online. I'm going to say add to my swatches. And if I do that and I go up to my swatches panel, those last 5 colors are the ones I just added. Great. Now, what does it do if I say add to my favorites? What does that do? Let's do that. Add to my favorites. And if I pop over to my themes, it should be there now in my favorites. Maybe not. Hang on. I'm not sure where my favorites are located in this app. Dun, 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 but it should be. Oh, hang on. Electrify. Hold on. Back to my themes. By library. And there should be a favorites in here somewhere. But anyway, you have 2 ways of getting to keep those colors. All right, so we can go back to Explore. Now, that's been around for years. That's not new. That's not, that's not what I'm really here to show you. What I'm really here to show you is how to create a color theme based on colors that you do already have that you want to work with. If you're just totally lost, yes, do the search, add the swatches, away you go. But if you really want to create something new, create something that's yours and personal and maybe not used by some other designer, then what you would do is start with a color. So let's say, for example, I'm just clueless. I have no idea what I want. Oh, but I like the blue in the sky in this photo. So I'm going to open up this photo. I'm going to say, I really like that shade of blue. I want to start there. All right, so I'll grab my eyedropper. I hit the letter I. I'll just click on that color blue and it made it my foreground color. Well, that's great if all I want is one color. But what I really want is the theme to go with those colors. That's what I really need. Now, if we come back over here to the Adobe Color Themes panel, there's 3 buttons. We're interested in the second one because we've already picked a color. The second one says, set selected color from the active color. And if I click on that, it will not only set that as the active color, but look at what it starts to do. It starts to fill in the rest of the theme. Now, what's it using to fill in the rest of the theme? There are different color rules. Well, that's what this last icon is for, the color rule. So if I say, hey, based on that color, I want complementary colors to go with it, then I can just click on complementary and it will find me complementary colors to go with it. Or I want to use the rule of triad, which is basically on the color wheel, it's like a triangle. So it's picking colors that way. Or I want to use colors that are compound, meaning that it's just another rule. But here's the one I'm really looking for here. 2 more. There's shades. Show me there's different shades of that color. So if you're trying to keep like the same color to maybe reduce cost, maybe you're only going to print a 2-color job, then that will do it because you're just using different shades of the same color. And then last but not least, monochromatic. And I think we got them all. We did shades. And of course, custom means you're just going to do it yourself. You're going to adjust your own colors, but we don't want to do that. All right, so that is one way to grab a theme. And let me go back to this because I kind of messed it up. Let me reset it. There we go. And now let me choose my complementary. And now you notice that I have a choice. Save my theme. So I'm going to call this February 11th because I don't have a better name. Color theme. All right. All right, so now I'll save that. And where is it saving it to? It should save it to my themes. And now it's asking me which library to save it to. And I do want to save it to my Adobe Live 2019 library. So once I save that, what will happen is it will sync that from Creative Cloud down into my computer. So if I come over here to my Photoshop application, there's my color theme. It's already there. And not only is it there, it's available in all my applications that use the Creative Cloud libraries. Now, again, I could add it to swatches and have them immediately go over to Photoshop swatches like I just did. It added the next 5 colors to the swatches. But I kind of like also keeping them as a theme in the libraries, because then it's not just in Photoshop. So maybe I'm using Illustrator for the vector work. Maybe I'm using Photoshop for the photo work. And then maybe I'm using InDesign to pull it all together. That way I've got access to all the colors in all 3 programs, as opposed to just the swatches panel that's just in Photoshop. And I don't have to do any exporting or importing. All right, there's another thing that's pretty cool about this. Let's say that I now want the colors from this design, or I'm sorry, this photo. I love this. I love the colors here. And here's another way to always get good colors. You probably, I'm going to dare say, never walked into a nature scene and said, oh my God, Mother Nature, what have you done? You've messed up all the colors. Colors in nature pretty much always look good together. So if you've got a nature scene that has great colors in it, like these, then chances are they already go together, because nature already does a good job of putting things together in a nice way. So how do I get a color theme based on a photo? Now there's 2 ways to do that. Number 1, you can do it from the website. So I think I called this one Sky 2 when I saved it. If I head back to the website, you'll notice that there is an import image button right there in the top left corner. Well, what this allows me to do is click import image, go find the one I want, which I think, nope. Wrong one. That one, Sky. And then import it into the web browser, and it will automatically load it up and pick colors, a color theme for me from it. So if I don't agree, maybe there's a particular yellow I'm looking for in the sky that it didn't pick, you can pick these up and move them around. You can say, oh, no, I kind of like that yellow better. Or no, I kind of like that purple better, or that shade better, even though I kind of already got it on the right-hand side there. So you can tweak these, and you can maybe say, well, I kind of want more of the blue in there. So I can come over here and move this blue. And boom, now I've got a color theme that is from that sky image that looks great. Because a lot of times you're going to be working with a design that includes a photo. So if you can use that photo to build your theme, you're already there. All right, I got to share those 2 sky images with you. Well, you can get them from Adobe Stock, because that's where I got them from. So now it's asking me, okay, do I want to publish this theme? Meaning, do I want to make a theme that you guys could download? I could say yeah to that, or no, if you want to keep it private. And I could, I don't know where these tags came from, but I could say, I kind of like candy. I'll do sky. I'll do sunset. I'll do evening. All right, so I'm giving it some tags, and I'm going to go ahead and save this color theme. Let me make sure I'm saving it to the right library. I am. Save that theme, and now that theme will be available to me in all my applications. All right, so here it is. It just took me over to it, and I've got it here to work with, or even edit if I choose to, or download it as a set of swatches if I want. All right, I said there were 2 ways to do that. Let's go back to that image in Photoshop. Let's pretend you were literally looking up at this sky. Let's say this was happening in front of you right now. How would you get this? You could take a picture of it and come back later and do that. Or you could download on your mobile device, the app that I just brought up there, it's called Adobe Capture CC. I'm going to bring up this app as well. All right, so here's my iPhone, and I'm going to go to my Adobe folder. In my Adobe folder, there's the app in the upper right-hand corner. It's called Adobe Capture CC. You can download it on iOS and Android. It's a free app, doesn't cost you a thing, and it captures more than just color, so you can use it for a lot of things. But if I launch Adobe Capture, first of all, I can choose what library I want to save things to, or create one on the fly. I want to save it to this, and look, boom, those two themes have already popped in because it syncs. Now, and then you notice that there's a camera icon at the bottom, and there's also a bring up a photo icon at the bottom. So if you already took the photo, you could just capture it later. You don't have to do it right there on the spot. You can enjoy the sunset. But if you want to capture something right there on the spot, just bring up the camera. And so now this is bringing up the iOS camera, and look, it's doing the same thing that the website did. It's showing it to me, and then I can tap, and I can say, I want to freeze this, and I want to create that kind of more orangey color. And I'm just dragging these dots around with my finger and get more of that color, and maybe not something so dark, maybe something around, let's see what I don't already have, maybe around that color. And once I like it, once I've got it tweaked the way I want, I can go ahead and tap the capture button. I can also choose what color mode I want to save it into. So someone said, what if I'm working with CMYK versus RGB? I saw that earlier. You can choose the color system that you want to work with. I can also work with the harmonies, and I can even save the image if I want to. So if I want to adjust any of the colors, maybe I want that purple to be a little brighter, I can adjust that purple a little brighter right here on the spot. Once I'm happy with it, I hit save. Computer Cloud Sync enabled, saved, done, and it will go back to Capture. So Capture, an amazing free app on iOS and Android. All right, next up, let's switch back. And here are the themes. There's the color theme 3, which is the one I just did on the phone. So it's already here on my computer, ready to go. There's Sky that we did on the website. And here's February 11 color theme that is from the other sky image that we did right here in Photoshop. So let's recap really quick because we're going to move on. We're not done yet. But if I don't have any idea what I'm doing, then I can go to Explore and just kind of search for what other people have done. So I can say, hey, I'm looking for wedding theme. I'm not, but let's say I am. Then it will show me all, you're going to get a million different wedding themes because everyone uses different colors. All right, grab the one you want, sync it, add it, whatever. All right, the next one, if you have a color that you like, you can start with that color. Let's say I like this yellow. I can click the middle button, bring that yellow over, and boom, it starts to build that theme for me. And I can, of course, use whatever rule I want to create these complementary or analogous colors that go with it. That was the one I was missing, analogous. All right, analogous. Let's go to shades. I'm trying to think, just what do I want from this? I kind of like complementary. So I'm going to stick to complementary on this one. And I'm going to save this theme. This way it'll sync it with Creative Cloud Libraries, which is what I was trying to do earlier. I forgot. And let's call this one... remember how I said I was bad with picking colors? I'm also bad with picking names. I don't know. What do we want to call this? Yeah, yellowish. All right, we'll give it that. We'll call it yellowish, and we'll save it. And now I have the yellowish theme saved to my library, and it will pop over there in a few seconds. All right, so now I've got, and so that was the other way, is that I could grab a color and do it. And then the third way was, or fourth way, I don't remember, the ability to just do it from a photo. Have the photo be the basis for your theme, especially if it's something in nature, because nature always does a good job of putting colors together that look good together. All right, so with that said, let's pop over to another program and see how it might be a little different. If we pop over to Illustrator, whoa, we did all that work. We didn't use it. Hold on. Before we leave Photoshop, let's use that work. I'm going to put the color themes away for now. Let's dock it over here. And let's say that I now want to start using those colors. I showed you how to pick them. The least I can do is show you how to use them. All right, so let's say we want to use it on this poster design. We're going to go all the way up to now I grabbed this template from Adobe stock, so it's got kind of everything labeled here. The design elements are a smart object, and they're all these pieces here. And I had originally, they came in color. I just made them all black and white, so it'd be easier to pick them or to change them later, I should say. So I want to change this yellow shade, which is what it used to be, to one of the theme colors here. Let's use color theme 3. So I'm going to lock the transparency so that I don't accidentally put color on the whole layer. And then I'm going to just pick one of the colors here. Let's say I want this middle color purple, and then I'll hit Option or Alt Delete, and it will make that object that color. Then I'll go to this next one, same thing, lock the transparency. Maybe I want this color to go with it, and then we'll Option or Alt Delete, and you can see what I'm doing here. We'll pick the one in the upper right corner, lock the transparency in the layer, and we'll pick maybe this one, and Alt Delete. And then last but not least is the background, which we don't have to lock the transparency because it's the entire background. And maybe we'll pick the dark blue. And now we have, when we close this and save it, this will be replicated throughout our entire design because all the artboards use this one design element for their backgrounds. And now all I have to do is just continue working. Maybe, okay, pick the color for the type. It's so much easier when you have a theme to work with because you can then go in and start picking colors. Hang on for a second here. I want to pick that color, and that color isn't cooperating as far as the type is concerned. So we will just grab it there. All right, I cheated. But anyway, I could drag and drop it on the type, but we have it there, and then you would just go ahead and, of course, change the type to say whatever you wanted to say. But you have your themes. So much easier when you have color harmonies and things that work together. Now, let's switch over to Illustrator. All right, so let's go to Illustrator. And in Illustrator, I did a similar thing. And look, all the themes came over to Illustrator because they're in my CC library. I can, of course, start picking elements and start making them these colors. And, you get the idea. It would start to fill them in. But what does Illustrator do different than Photoshop? And what does it do different than InDesign? Two things. Number one, I forgot one thing really quick. Let's go back to Photoshop. Before we leave Photoshop, one more thing is that when you go to the color panel, you now have the option. This is what you usually see. You usually see this. This is what you usually see, right? Now you have the option to choose the color wheel, which shows you, by the way, if you're having a problem picking a color that goes with like that blue this purple that I just have right here, the color on the other end of the color wheel will go with it. So if I tap that color will go with the color that we had over here in the blue. Just like if I pick this green, this color on the other end of the color wheel goes with it. So the color wheel was just added in October, believe it or not, to Photoshop world, even though the color wheel has been around for decades. But now it's in Photoshop, and now you have it. Now, back to Illustrator one more time. What can we do different in Illustrator? Well, first of all, if you go to Illustrator, Illustrator's been ahead of the game in terms of picking colors for a long time. You have the color themes that I just showed in Photoshop, so that panel is there. You can do all the same things. Great. Number two, you've got something that the other programs don't have. You have this thing called Color Guide. If I go to Color Guide, there it is up there. Look at what it's doing. The Color Guide is already thinking and working in themes. This has been in Illustrator for years. This is not new. But Illustrator is one of the first tools to have the ability to have these themes. And you can go in and say, hey, I picked a color. Let's pick a color, actually. There we go. Pick a color, and then I can say, hey, I kind of want some things to go with that color. Hold on, let's try that one more time. I'm not sure what's locked in on that color all of a sudden, but there we go. All right, so it can pick complementary colors based on whatever color you pick to start with. So it's kind of like doing what Adobe Color does, built in, and it's been in Illustrator, like I said, for years. And you can have all the different same rules here. You have even more rules than you had before. So let's say, for example, we pick that color. Here we go. And there we go. Great. There we go. Now we have all the complementary colors to go with it. I was clicking on the right icon. I kept clicking on that one. Should have been clicking on that one. All right, click on the one on the left, and you've got the same kind of thing. Now, the color guide, again, that's an exclusive Illustrator feature. It did not happen in Photoshop or InDesign. And of course, once you get a color you like, you can either add those colors to your swatches panel, just like we did in Photoshop, or you can edit the colors, or you can limit this to the colors in your swatches that are there already. So this was built before before the CC library, so it doesn't have the ability to quickly add them to libraries. But it does have the ability to quickly add them to swatches. So your swatches are there. Last but not least, let's switch over to InDesign. And in InDesign, same kind of thing. Look, boom, all of the same themes are there. The same ability to bring up the color themes is here. Adobe Color Themes under Color. So it's got the same panel now in all three applications. Great. And it has something that Illustrator and Photoshop doesn't have. Remember how we used Adobe Capture to get a color theme based on the photo? InDesign has that built in. It doesn't need to go to a website. You don't need the app. You can just do it. There's a color theme tool in InDesign. It's one of my favorite tools, and it's one of the tools I wish the other applications would pick up. So let's say, for example, we pick, let's see, we didn't pick this one yet. So I'm going to pull this photo into InDesign, whether it's temporary or permanent, and I put it behind things. Let's move it out front. All right, so now we got this photo here, and let's say I like the colors in this photo, and I want InDesign to get the colors for me. So if you go to your eyedropper tool, there we go, the eyedropper tool, underneath the eyedropper tool is the color theme tool. So when you click on an image that's already in your InDesign document, boom, it pops up a color theme right there in the tool, and it will stay there as long as you're on the tool. How do you get to keep those colors? You either add them to your swatches or add them to the current library. So if I add them to the current library, now they're there. All right, so you got it. You've got the ability to never be stuck with colors again, never be stuck picking colors again, I should say, because you got so many ways to get great colors and get started right off the bat. You have the ability to go see what other people are using with the Explore tab. You have the ability to start with your favorite color or a color that the client wants and build out from that. You have the ability to sample colors from a photo that you're going to use anyway, or one that kind of has the colors in it you want. And you have the ability to use the color guide in Illustrator. And while it's not as convenient because it doesn't add them to a library, you can manually add those colors to a library or to a theme yourself. So with that said, that is how you can quickly and easily have the right colors for your next design project without having to struggle, because most of the work is being done for you, especially if you just use the Explore panel. Find colors that you like together and grab that theme, and away you go. Matter of fact, everyone that shares their theme wants you to use their colors, and this is all free. All part of your Creative Cloud membership. All right, let's make sure I didn't miss anything. Loving that, make my life easier. Love the color guide. Color guide is awesome. I haven't used it in a while, but it is awesome. All right, hello in London. And not seeing any questions I didn't get there. What if you think, oh my God, hands all the colors, which What if you have to choose it yourself and oh my God, hang on, I missed part of that. What if you have to choose it yourself and oh my God, and think, oh my God, the product contains all colors which should use as primary? Well, that sometimes you do have to make a decision. You do have to make your own call based on what color you think would work best for the design. Now, from that standpoint, having either a color that's in the product already, or a color that the company uses, or a color that's in their logo, or a color that they like as a starting point, I would say make that the base color depending on what it is you're working on, and then have it build out from there. Or if you're trying to maybe make that not the primary color, then do the opposite. Use that as a color to build the rest of the theme, and then use one of the other colors in the theme that works best for the design. Now, if you're just totally stuck, oh my God, I just don't know what to do, and I don't like the themes, and I don't know what color to use, and I don't know where to start, then the best advice I can give you is pick your colors. If all of that fails, pick your colors based on the emotion or mode or season you're trying to convey. So for example, if I was designing things for the spring, I would probably start using spring colors or warmer summer colors. If I'm designing a fall lineup or winter, I start using probably lots of blues, lots of cooler colors. So if all else fails and you just can't make up your mind, what season is it? Pick the colors based on that season. All right, so with that said, I hope you got something out of this. This was fun to do, and it's one of the things I've been, like I said, trying to tackle for a long time, and tackle it with a purpose, meaning tackle it with an easy way to tell people, oh my God, I don't know what color to start with, or I don't know what color to use. Then build a theme based on a color that is part of the foundation of what you're working on, meaning in a photo, or the company's color, or something else. If not, explore, look at what other people are doing based on the same keywords that you're typing in. And last but not least, if none of that works, what season is it? Pick colors that look good in that season. Because you can't go wrong with seasonal colors either. The human eye tends to like warm colors in general. So if you stick to the yellows, the oranges, the warmer colors in general, our eyes like those colors. And the cooler blues, we like those colors. So if all else fails, just do that. All right, so with that said, cheers everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one, and which is tomorrow. InDesign, tips and tricks for designing brochures, 1 p.m. Pacific time on the InDesign Facebook channel and the channels you're watching now. So with that said, bye everybody. Thanks.